As the clock strikes 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek.
1 minute, let me go
Together
share
we rise
this
for the strong and the meek.
real quick.
A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a Circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. Tonight, we are diving into a conversation that resonates deeply with so many of us, in between wars, the double life, balancing cultural expectation with American realities. As immigrants, first generation Americans, or even those connected by love and friendship to our communities, we often find ourselves walking a tightrope, honoring where we come from while navigating where we are. There's beauty in that journey, but there's also struggles, sacrifices, and moments of feeling torn between two places we call home. Tonight, we are joined by two incredible panelists who have lived this reality, faced the expectation, and found their own balance. So, as we dive into this great topic, you can join the conversation, right? The goal tonight is simple: to connect, reflect, and inspire, because no matter where you are on this journey, you are not alone. So let's get to it. I'm your host again, Abe Kamara. Today is Tuesday, March 18, and we are discussing the double life, balancing cultural expectation with American realities. So you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in our chat or calling our number 817-600-1525. Also, Circle Podcast is becoming a phenomena, a community show. So you can follow us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on X or Twitter, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So join the conversation, man. Be part of this. It is a great community show. So we hope that you can join us and be part of something very, very unique. So with that, we'll go around the room and introduce our panelists. The good Mel.
Good evening, everybody. This is Melvin Lanozia here tonight. Thank you, Abe, for that beautiful introduction to our topic on discussion. I'm excited about it because you one way or the other as an immigrant have somewhere you originated from, and then you kind of understand just by being in America, see how different both cultures are. Navigating those two are just the most challenging piece, the
Yeah,
expectations set by people. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about the topic tonight. Let's dive into it. Our audience just get involved and have fun.
Okay. Miss Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Great intro.
Oh, I'm Jerry, and I'm excited to be here.
That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
Titus.
Hey guys, Titus here. Nice to have all of you here as well. So our audience, our people out there, keep engaging. We're happy to have you here and have this conversation with you.
Okay, Sam, welcome to the show.
Oh, absolutely. Good evening to everyone. And I'm looking forward to the discussion tonight.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you to our incredible panelists. First, Titus, I will start with you. What does home mean to you? Home,
What
home.
is
What does
what?
it mean to you? What does home mean to you? Home.
Oh, home. Home is
Yeah.
home is where the heart is. Home is a part of our identities, where we're from. You know, in many instances, we can define what home is. Home can also mean where you are comfortable, right? Where you provide for yourself, your family. That's what home is. So home is different things to different people.
So for Titus, though, is home your cultural homeland or the country where you now find yourself, the United States? Or that's, I
Both,
mean, that's the minister.
both.
Okay.
The United States is home away from home.
Okay.
Uh, my homeland can never be divorced from the definition of what home means for me. That's where I was born and raised. You know, I am tied to that place in many different ways as well. So we cannot divorce the two. America is home away from home, and Liberia will always be home.
Okay. Miss Jerry, what does home mean to you? Is it where you find yourself now in the United States, or where you're coming from? Can it be both?
I would say both for me too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's here and it's back home because I have roots here now and I have my cultural heritage.
Okay.
So,
Mel, same question. What does home mean to you? Is it your is it where you are today, your culture or your cultural homeland?
I will agree with the two panelists that have just said. It's both. You know, home where I was born, my background, my both parents, from Liberia, that's home. And I was born and raised there. I can't change that. That is just part of my life. And then coming over here, understanding, different culture and the comfort I've had here over time makes America second home, and like Tacto said, Liberia cannot be somewhere that I would see like it's not home, it's home, regardless of how I see it. That's where I was born, and that's where both of my parents are from.
So what
So
why
both,
okay. Go ahead.
yeah, so both areas are home for me.
So why is it both? Isn't that a distraction? Isn't that kind of not keeping you focused? Why are you maintaining both?
I'm maintaining both for the fact that Liberia was where I was born, and just knowing my parents are from Liberia or regionally, not just half, but I mean full Liberians. Um, that makes Liberia home for me. Again, navigating, coming to America here, and understanding culture, learning here, and the comfort I got here, right? The
Mm.
opportunities that allows me to grow as an individual and be a better person every day makes America a second home for me.
Okay. Sam, same question. What does home mean to you?
See, I changed my name to this so you can have a better shot
Yeah, that's it
announcing it.
because you good,
Man,
you good. Yeah.
I am a global citizen,
Okay.
so wherever I find myself, I make it home.
Hmm.
You know, if I find myself in Zimbabwe tomorrow or Namibia, I will make it home because I also, as a Christian, I believe my home is beyond the earth,
Hmm.
right? So,
Okay.
so home for me, true home for me is heaven. And so, for that reason, wherever I find myself on this planet Earth, I make it home.
Okay.
That's my approach.
Okay. Titus, have you ever felt like you have to choose between two cultures, the United States and Liberia? Have you ever felt that since you've been here, since you migrated, since you immigrated to the United States? Have you ever felt like you have to choose between these two cultures?
I've never placed that type of pressure upon myself. But I, however, believe that there are great values and principles that the United States offers that can be integrated into what I have learned, what I have grown with from my origin. But choosing between my culture, my traditional culture versus that of America. I've never really had that kind of pressure placed on myself. Mind you, it might be different for folks who were younger here,
Mhm.
who came in when they were younger, or maybe who were born here, if they would even have any kind of attachment to Liberia. But I came here when I was already, so to speak, grown. You know, so I've never really had that type of pressure placed on me.
So Mel, though, do you think someone coming here young or maybe born here to Tato's point versus someone coming here at an older age, maybe in their 20s or in their 30s, like they don't have ready, they don't someone who's born here and maybe came here younger, they don't have to face that pressure choosing between the American, I mean, their cultures versus the American norms.
Yes, I think, coming here young, you really don't have history with where you were born. It depends on how young you are. Let's say if someone comes here at the age of 5 or under 5 or 4, they might have some level, little bit of memories from where they are originated from. But moving here is like everything about you, your growth, your education from elementary up to high school. If you are an adult that finished college, your whole life is just most part is just in the US of A. So you really don't have memory about where you were born. So it has a lot to do with that as well. So personally, for me, uh, you know, being 24 years old and coming to the US of A, knowing I went to high school back home, all of my friends are back home, family members, I interacted with them. So that orientation is already part of me as a Liberian. That culture had just been indoctrinated into me. And coming here is just the piece of just navigating the system and incorporating those good things. I think I can put part of my life to make things better. So yes, it has a lot to do with how old you were when you came here and those that were born here. America is home for them, and that's all they've seen growing up.
Okay. Sam, what's
But
the one culture? Oh yeah, go
before,
ahead,
before
Tato.
you go, before you go, Sam, if I
Mhm.
may, Abe, just want
Mhm.
to throw this back at you a little bit.
Yeah.
What would put a person in the position um to struggle between choosing between that culture, their place from their place of origin, and that of wherever they find themselves in the world? I mean,
I think I mean,
what
I'm coming
factors
from
do
a
you think
point where in
influence
like I'm coming from a point where in like this is where you live your life, right? This is where everything is. This is where you live now, right? This is your home. Versus, but there's I mean, to Mel's point, right? You also come from there. There's certain expectation, there's certain cultural norms, there's certain value systems, and sometimes there's that conflict. Okay, which one do I embrace? Which one do I go with, right? That's the point I'm coming from. That's the vantage point I'm coming from. I mean, not necessarily that you have to struggle with it, but just looking at it, right, is like which one do you have to choose, right? Do
And I
you
think,
do you now embrace your do you
as we've
now
been
embrace
saying,
do
I
you
don't
now
think it'll
embrace your
be.
American life versus maybe your your Liberian culture?
And I think as we've said here,
Mm.
and I'm not trying to take over, but it wouldn't. I don't think it would get to a place where you have to choose which life to live, which culture to adapt to. Right? You can integrate. I mean, you're a human.
How can you
Take
integrate? How?
Like I said initially when I addressed this question, take the great values of the United States, right?
Hmm.
Knowing where you are, like let's say for example the family dynamics,
Yeah.
the typical family dynamics in Africa or
Hmm.
where we're from is
Yeah.
different from here, right?
Yep.
So instead of completely adapting to this dynamic that's here, take a blend of it, mix it up and form something that is very unique to your household and something that's beneficial.
Is that gonna? I mean, do you think that will work for? I mean, for your family because like the
And working.
dynamic at his back home is different. Is different than the dynamic here, especially when it comes to the family structure.
If you tailor what's here versus
Uh-huh.
what's there, blend it, find a unique blend that works for you and your household. Of course, I think it works for a lot of people.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Sam, what's the one cultural tradition from your background that you absolutely still love and practice today? What's the one thing from Liberia or when growing up that you absolutely love that you still practice today that you still you said, man, I can't leave this behind.
My religion.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
yeah.
Overall, man, like Tata is saying, right? Uh, there are some people who have been able to assimilate very well, and some people struggle to do that, right? The
Hmm.
blending of cultures can be a difficult thing for people. For me, I've been able to do that. I still practice some things. I still do things certain way and all of that. But man, I've noticed though when you get so stuck in your own culture, because culture itself, is has a whole lot to play in, the way you see the word and where you accept things and do things, the mindset. And so if you don't assimilate and have an open mind to accepting new culture and embracing new things, you will
Hmm.
struggle because you will find yourself opposed to a lot of things internally, right?
Yeah.
And so your approach to things, will be quite different from people who have, accepted, or people who practice a culture different from yours.
Hmm.
I mean, by all means, maintain your culture and some of the things that are very relevant to you, a relevant piece of it, or pieces of it. But it's when you come to a culture like this, I mean, the American culture is diverse too, right? It's hard to say the
Yeah.
American culture because it's very diverse.
Yeah.
But bring your own piece of pie to it, and take some other pies too from other people's plate, and put it together with yours, and just enjoy life here, in a way.
Hmm. Okay, Miss Jerry, though, like in a culture like America, right, coming from a different background, how do you navigate topics like marriage, career choice? I mean, those are things back home. It's very different, right? Here, right, the expectations or the things that come with it, marriage, marriage, career, and things like that is very different. How do you navigate those, right? Do you,
One second. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay, Mel, maybe I'll let you take that, and then why Miss Jerry come back? I'll let you take that. Did you hear where I was coming from?
Yeah, you just said navigating marriage and career, right? Those are the two
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So career somehow might be the same, but again, coming to an environment that is so much diverse, there might be some changes. But marriages, the way we see it back home in Africa, is a bit different.
Oh,
Some countries allow
how
some
is it
countries.
different?
I will go there. Some countries in Africa, a man can marry as many, wives he want, but here it's not allowed. You can do that legally, and that's something a lot of Africans struggle with, right?
Mm,
Now, so that's what we kind of can talk about understanding the environment you are in and things that are permissible and just navigating the system in a manner. So leaving from Africa, you have to change your mindset as it relates to men marrying multiple women, or men just having a wife home and being the sole the provider of the home.
mm,
Those kind of family dynamic will not work in America, because one income will not make it. You will have that two, or partners in the home
mhm,
somehow chipping in, depending on where they are in terms of their finances. So navigating those things in Africa is slightly different than they are in America. So that's what I meant by there's a bit different as it relates to how those things are handled in Africa. Careers wise, I mean, back when we have universities, we have people starting school, going to colleges and things. They got different careers, aspiration. It's just like here, there are a lot of careers that you can navigate
sure,
through,
sure.
as compared to Africa. Now, looking at the market structure, or the job market in Africa is slightly different, right? So people
Mhm,
tend to gravitate more towards certain career aspect, let's say more of accounting and business aspect, right? But here, you can think about somebody going into engineering because there are opportunities in engineering. Somebody going to becoming a medical doctor. There are opportunities becoming a medical doctor, and also there are job provision for those things, and also there are means of you being efficient and proficient in just
sure.
navigating such. people becoming scientists. They provide that opportunity in America. It's not in Africa. So you see, when you go to the African universities, specifically, I will speak of Liberia because that's where I'm from. I don't really know much about Nigeria, but I bet
Mhm.
they are somehow related. People tend to gravitate most toward the business career aspect. They tend to gravitate more toward politics because these are areas they have opportunities in. So navigating those two coming to America, you should kind of look at the market structure
Okay.
where job is being provided and gravitate more towards that.
Okay. Miss Jerry, I'll come back to you, right? I'll kind of reframe it differently, right? When it comes to the parenting, as a parent, right? How do you navigate that, here, right, in this culture versus, let's assume if you're in Liberia as a parent.
Ooh. So I've never been a parent in Liberia. But yeah, so I think we talked about assimilation earlier on.
Hmm.
It's just like taken from my culture and the American culture because it's a lot to learn from both cultures. There are a
Okay.
lot of things that I admired about Liberian parenting, and there are some things that I don't want that I try not to do with my kids. And there are a lot of things that I admire about the American culture that I try to instill in my kids. And there are certain things that I don't like that I try not to do. So it's just like, how can I blend these two cultures and make it work for me?
What is the one thing as a parent you don't like? From the Liberian culture that you don't want your kids, that you don't want to teach your kids, or you don't want your kids to adapt or learn.
So, in our culture, we don't allow kids to express themselves freely.
Okay.
That's a very big thing. Like growing up, like if you express yourself, is considered rude.
Mm,
However, over here, it's considered like smart. Like
mm,
this child know how to speak their mind and know how to say if you hurt them, like I'm hurt, mommy, or I'm disappointed in you. Back home, if you do that, it's considered disrespectful. And that's something that I try not to do with my kids because I want them to be able to express themselves freely. Because if they can express themselves freely with me, they can go out there and do the same. We found out that a lot of Liberian kids are timid, they are shy because of those things. Because at home, they're not given the opportunity to speak or express their mind or be themselves. So, yeah, just that's just one part. And the whole thing with the spanking thing, sometimes people just do it way too much. I'm not saying it's wrong, sometimes it's needed. However, I feel like some kids is just at some point it just turned into abuse, to be honest with you.
okay.
Where parents are so impatient and they don't take the time to like understand the children. The first thing is like, I'm just gonna whip you for everything.
Okay. Tyler, so let me stick to that a little bit. Right? When it comes to parenting, where do you draw that line, right? I mean, Miss Jerry is saying, it's like she wants her kids to express themselves, versus back home, sometimes when you do that, it is considered rude, or something else, right? But where do you draw that line? Where do you find that middle ground to make sure, right? You want to make sure your child is confident or your kids are confident, but where do you draw that line?
And I agree with her. For this reason too, a lot of children now are not expressive. And even in college, going through college in America, they might struggle with participation. As you know, the school system is different. Here, they want you to be active, engaged, interactive atmosphere. Back when we in Liberia, the school system just swallow everything. And then when it's time for a quiz or test, you find everything on the paper. It's the same thing that came from home.
Yeah.
It's into our school system. Over here, it's different. Instructors want you to be interactive. Let's discuss this. Do you understand the subject matter? Where do we strike that balance?
Hmm.
Um, I think what parents were trying to inculcate into children in Africa, it is a bit disrespectful when you're talking, whether children or not, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Even adults, when you're talking and another adult just interrupt what you're saying, right? Or talking over you. I think maybe in my mind, I think about these things sometimes, like maybe this is what they were trying to get through to kids. So even here, now that we know better and the impact that it has on children, educate the children. Tell them, teach them the importance of communication. Good
Sure.
communication is not just about talking; it's
Okay.
also about listening. So when I'm talking, listen.
Okay.
Try to understand what I'm saying, and you will definitely have your chance to express yourself as well. But just that fear of, scaring them. They don't talk. When you talk, you get beat, stuff like that. I don't think they learn through that method. I don't think it's effective teaching. But if you can
Okay.
just explain the reasoning behind why I don't want you to speak when I'm speaking, because I want you to start practicing great communication skills.
Sure.
This is going to help you as an adult as well.
Okay.
That communication is not just about talking, but also actively listening. And when I'm done talking, talk to me.
Okay.
Let me know
Well, folks,
what's on your mind.
okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing the double life, balancing cultural expectation with American realities. You can contribute by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 817-600-1525. Mel, I think that is for you, right? The commenter here said, you mentioned something about in Africa, men, men can men can have three wives, two wives, or whatever, right? Why if you had three wives back home and then you come here? Should you leave all of them, or what will you do? Should you assimilate to to the way of doing things here, or what would be your choice?
Well, I think that would be up to the individual, right? Like your plan. What's your plan? What? Why you decide to move to America? Now you are here. You understand better. You learn things, right? Do you is your plan is to go back and bring those remaining ladies or your wives you have there? That should be up to you, right? Right. That should be up to that individual to answer such question. But again, sometimes the reason these things are in place is because of the dysfunctional family structure the African parents tend to have in terms of these kind of marriages. One man marrying multiple wives. You have these dysfunctional family structure where the parent is not fully involved, right? The parent is just halfway through. So in terms it has the negative implication on the kids. The question our audience asks is just up to the individual who have moved here and understanding the culture here. It should be a decision you should make. Sure, I now go back to Liberia and bring those wives I have. Firstly, how do you how you plan on bringing them over here? Are they going to come as sisters? Because you can't bring two wives or three wives. You're allowed to bring one. So that's another piece. It's up to that person to decide. Yes, I will bring them, and how you decide to bring them is another way.
Okay, fair point. I don't want to
Can
push
It
I?
that.
just
Can
comes
I?
down to respecting other people's culture. Like we agree you can have three wives in Liberia, but it's also against the law to have three wives here. The same way Liberians don't want to have gays in the country.
Okay.
So how about you
Can
just
we?
respect what is here?
Can you take them to Utah though? Can you take them to Utah and marry them?
To where-
Can you take them
Utah.
what to Utah? To
Utah.
Utah? Okay.
oh yeah, you
Yeah.
could do sister wives and go to Utah. And they can, I
So
guess it's
so
legal there.
so when you bring them here, you should what? Move to Utah? Is that what you're saying, Titus?
That's the only place that's allowed right now.
Like that.
Man, I don't really understand why people marry more than one wives. If you marry the good one, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. If you find a good one that meets you in every way, you'll be fine. You don't need to.
So do you
Anyway, that's
think?
that's another topic. Maybe we'll leave that topic.
No, we
Uh,
don't want to leave. I just want to push it a little bit though. So
where you
so
want
do
to
you think
put?
what
Yeah.
Mary said, right? I mean, what is practically
What
Africa?
does
Do you
what does
think?
nature have to do with good and bad? Like,
Okay,
was
Sam, that's for you. Tyler is asking,
Well,
what
you
does
you
nature?
asking a morality question?
nature? What does nature have to do with good and bad? So
Oh my
if you look at the,
So,
let me just expand before you
yeah,
answer.
expand on your question.
If you look at the if you observe the animal kingdom, right? It's strictly with nature, right? Playing with nature, one with nature. Animals do not have and you know how close we are to the animal species. They have no issues with having more than one partners. Do you think
Man,
that this thing of monogamy is something that is traditional? Again, it's in this topic, right? Because we're still navigating
no, that's a good question. It's a
our
good
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
culture,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
against the American reality. Don't you
yeah.
think? Don't you think this monogamous practice is a Western thing and an American practice? I mean, what does nature have to do? If this is a part of your nature, what does it have to do with good, whether a woman is good or bad?
That is, here's the thing. A dog, a typical dog running around Africa or anywhere. Matter of fact, no, Africa where they're mostly loose in their natural environment has no responsibility. Just goes around, sleep with any dog it sees, have kids, won't feed the kids, go to the next one. How is it that mice? No, no, but that's the nature. That's the nature of a dog. A dog is very irresponsible. So you want to tell me I'm close in there? No, no, come on. There are some things that we can but I'm not close in nature with dogs or any animals that are running in the wild. And so naturally, no, that can't be compared. And when we look on the other side, I'm not saying this is bad because every culture has to be respected. In some cultures, gays, lesbianism, we respect that. It is what it is, right? In our culture, we respect what we respect. But what I'm saying to you,
Mm-hmm.
in my experience, in
Yeah.
my 30 some of years of existence on this beautiful earth,
Okay.
I am telling you, as a witness, behold, when you have one that meets you in many ways, my brother, you will have not much desire to go running around for the other ones. Trust me.
Well,
Okay.
you were saying something about being close in nature of the dog. Some men are really close.
No,
Like
some of them
so that
are. I won't
so
debate.
that's why they don't have a
Some of
problem.
them are. And when you meet
Oh,
that
whoa.
one man, you fall
I
down his
mean,
life.
Shots
it's
fired.
Some of
Miss
them are.
Terry,
And
Miss
then
Terry
and then
just put a bomb.
some women
Jerry,
are
shots
too.
fired.
Some women are too though.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, some women
Okay.
are.
Okay. Okay.
We're not that far from the animal species, guys. So
My man, leave that other thing there.
uh,
When we're talking about the day-to-day activities, man, we're far, man.
let me say this, right? If
Okay. We'll say
hu-
I will let you say that, and
humans
then we'll move away, and then
humans
we'll
like
move
to
away from this.
humans like to convince
Oh no,
themselves.
I said it. You didn't hear me?
No, no,
Uh,
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just said no. I just responded to titles, my brother. I just
Yeah.
said
Go
that
ahead.
we're
Yeah. Go
far.
ahead, Tadas. Go ahead. Tadas. Go ahead. Send me good. Tadas. Go ahead.
Okay,
we
okay.
we humans like to convince. We like to think so highly of ourselves that we're
Hmm.
so highly intelligent than animals.
Okay.
If you do research, right, you're not. The human species is not more intelligent than animals. And
Okay.
for Sam to think that animals just go around having babies and not taking care of their family, that's no, you can't do that to the animal kingdom, brother. You cannot do that. That dogs are
Okay.
just passing around, having kids here and there, and not
Hey,
not
what's going on? Are we
not
frozen or
being
what?
accountable and responsible for their families. No, that's not accurate. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Tadas, we hear you. Right. Patient, welcome to the show. It's a good topic tonight. I know you already know the topic, the double life, balancing cultural expectation with American realities. But let me stick to it. Thing it looked at the whole polygamy business or whatever, right? Is joining is joining some stuff here. So patience though, right? Is male race upon here one of the cultural differences with African men.
Mhm.
In Africa, folks can marry two, three wives. You come here, it's like the culture or the American reality is like one man, one woman, and then the commenter here say, it's about the appetite of the man, right? There's a reason the majority of men end up cheating on their partners. Do you agree?
I
Right?
mean, yeah, sorry, I'm not feeling too well. In Africa, the men are in the positions to take care of their 2, 3, 4, 10 wives they're married. Each one of them have
Mm,
their own homes and stuff like that. In America, it's different. If you're getting 2, 3, 4 wives, are you going to be able to support all 3, 4, 5, 6 of them? That's the difference because I'm not going to be the other wife if I'm not getting supported financially. If you're going to make me a second wife, that means you're taking care of all my financial needs, and why not? And that's where the problem comes in America because men are not doing that here. They expect us to go to work and take care of our financial responsibilities. But in Africa, it's different. These women are home, being a homemaker, and still being taken care of financially, and all their needs and wants are provided.
okay. Okay. Well, I mean it's a hard one, right? Is that the whole having two, three wives in Africa versus here. But there's another good one about things, the expectation back home, where in like if your mother-in-law is in your house or maybe your father-in-law, you as the wife or you have to either clean after your father-in-law. It's like, so the commenter here says like, what do you guys think about? I mean, about
That's a good one.
yeah, Titus. I will start with you. You are always the Pan Africanist. You are the traditionalist, right? I will start with you on the one. I'll let you take this one here first.
So let's read that out for anybody listening. I watched a video on social media in which the fiance of a Nigerian guy clashed with his mother because, according to the fiance, the guy's mother wanted her to take her dishes
Treat
after
her like
dinner
a little
and
daughter.
feel like
Treat
a
her like
little
a little daughter.
daughter.
The Nigerian man went off
Went off
reaffirming
reaffirming
Nigerian
Nigerian
culture.
culture to the girl. I had a dilemma with that one. What do you guys? That's a really good question, Manny, and thank you for participating.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah, that's really a good one.
I like to
So,
know where was the uh the guy's fiance? Where was she from? What culture was she from? Can
oh,
you provide that
Well,
information?
let's assume she's from
oh,
Nigeria, but they're in America now. Let's assume she's from Nigeria, but they're in America.
It doesn't matter if you're
Okay,
in
so
Let's
America or
status go.
not.
Let's status
I
go.
think it matters to a certain extent, though.
how?
Uh,
Well, if my guy who posted the question can fill in the blanks, then I will address things.
No,
But
no, no. Let's
so
assume.
yeah, let him answer. Where's the fiance
Who's
from?
asking you guys? What do you guys think?
I
Yeah.
mean,
see,
yeah, like
Okay.
I'm saying,
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
I'm saying.
No,
Okay.
the
For the sake of this
importance,
argument,
the
both of them are
essence
from
of
Nigeria.
Sam's question is that if, assuming that a girl is from
Okay,
Nigeria,
African
there you
American.
go. You see, so
thank,
that
Manny.
brings a
Thank you,
different
Manny.
stuff to the argument.
So here is it, right? Let me try this one. Here's what I think. I think that I think that as a man, when you marry out of your culture, you have a responsibility to educate your wife or to update your mom or your family, right? And you have to understand what your fiance is going to be willing to accept and what she's not going to be willing to accept. So I believe that if he had married out of his when married out of his culture, he should have sat down with his wife and let her know some of the expectations. And so I mean the fact that she's from a different culture, and it's very typical that this kind of thing will happen if you as a mother expect a thing like this. This is kind of result you would get if you marry out of somebody from the African American community. They don't do that. They don't do that. You're not about to treat somebody like they your kid. They don't do that. Culturally, they don't do that. So that was a cultural clash. And I think when you marry out of your culture, you should spend time trying to educate that person about your culture, what your parents would expect, and how they may treat that person. So I don't think that maybe the guy didn't do a good job educating his wife or educating his mom at that rate too. So that's where the issue came from.
Okay, patient. You want to say something about this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I think basically it depends on your upbringing, like the home you grew up into. Because I grew up in a home where the kids pick up after dinner, we go pick up the dishes and go and wash the dishes, and that's something that even as an adult, it's not just my parents, but even my spouse or his parents. When
Mhm.
everybody finished eating, I'm in the kitchen. I cook. I'm in the kitchen. I pick up the dishes. I go and wash the dishes. It's more of a respect thing, and I understand where Sam is coming from too, because every culture is different. But they do have some African American people who, I mean, the cultures is semi-similar, and they have some females who are just set in their ways too. And it also depends on the relationship that man has with his fiance, because at the end of the day, that is your mother-in-law. If she's not demanding or disrespecting you to do those things, those are things you're supposed to do to sweeten her up so she can fall in love with you and make your marriage easier. Especially Nigerian mother-in-laws, there.
But we are in America. But we are in America, though.
It
Why?
still
Why?
doesn't matter. It still doesn't
We are in
respect is
America.
respect. It doesn't matter. Adult As trust me, I'm not the typical. I don't practice the typical African culture, but there are certain things I hold value to. An adult is an adult. If we're in the home, you are older than me. You're an adult. I'm gonna treat you. Adults are basically treated like kids, so I'm gonna treat you as that and give you the respect that you deserve too. I don't think it should matter if we're in America or we're in Africa.
Okay. Miss Jerry, have you ever faced judgment from the Liberian community that, oh, you are too American, or maybe like you have adapted certain aspect of American culture that you are forgetting your own Liberian culture, that you are too American?
I get that all the time.
You do?
But
Okay.
at the same time, we always talk about the whole assimilation thing. When you find yourself in certain spaces, you have to assimilate. Like you have to find a way to integrate and be a part of the culture you're in. And the spaces that I find myself in, I have to be American in those spaces. In as much as I want to hold on to my Liberian culture.
Okay. Titus, have you ever
I
faced
mean, if I could just ask Miss Jury, what
Okay,
type
go
of
ahead.
spaces, what type of spaces are compelling you to be an American, right, Erico?
So I'm not saying like I'm like totally neglecting my like Liberian background, but most of the times I'm in like professional business settings where a lot of these people are like Americans, they're African Americans, they're whites, they're born here, they don't know where I'm from. They don't have any idea who I am or any of that stuff. And most of the things we are talking about, most of the discussions that are being held is about America, economy, businesses, and all that stuff. It's not about Liberia.
I hear you. So
So
essentially,
even
you
though
have
it's
to
not about
spend
Liberia
energy.
though, isn't like I mean, isn't don't you think like our Liberians, I mean folks in Liberia, I mean, don't they are not embracing such, I mean, that aspect of your life, or they are not embracing that, or what is it?
They're not. Sometimes all Liberian people can become a little iffy. Like
Speak your
Mhm.
mind.
That is so true. I
Okay,
completely agree with
okay,
that.
Speak
Speak
okay.
your
up.
Mel, what's the one food for like, what's the one food from your culture, from Liberia, that you really, like, maybe like you don't have it here now, but you wish, right? It's like it was mainstream in America. The one food.
Man, there are a lot. But I would name few. I love fruits, so I was gonna emphasize on mango. Like there's one in Liberia we call Jama plum or Jama mango, whatever if you're American, but Jama plum. That's how we call it in Liberia. I haven't
Mm,
really seen that here, and the taste of it, right? You eating mango here, you really don't have the actual organic taste, right? It's missing from it. So sometimes I go to the grocery store here and buy mango and eat it, but I'm missing that organic taste from it. There's something missing from it. If any of you have eaten plum from Africa, from Liberia, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So that I do miss, and I don't get that here. But a lot of other things, man, a lot of other food. Since you just said one, I'll kind of, touch on the mango.
okay. Sam, how do you think like trying to balance two cultures, right? Like impact mental health? What do you think that does to mental health? Trying to, there are some folks they are very much immersed into Liberia, into the Liberian politics, into maybe or even Nigeria, into Nigerian politics, Nigerian culture. But at the same time, they are here, they have their family here. How do you think trying to balance two impact mental health, or does that have any role to play?
I mean, one could feel overwhelmed, one could feel stressed out.
Mm,
Uh, you know, and for everyone, it can be a little different, right? Some people
mm,
are not just able to turn their eyes away or their heads away from Liberia, right?
mm,
Just because of how connected they are there. Some people have kids out there, families, close families, and all of those things. All of those kind of people that they have to be connected with and supporting in a way. And so they try to balance life in two places. And so for many people, it becomes a stress. And it becomes overwhelming for them. And so when you're stressed and overwhelmed, you can also start to feel that and that drain of energy, both mentally and physically too. So it can impact how you think and how you go about your day and function. But for me, like I said, man, once I found myself here, I still have connections over there, great connections over there, but I have a good balance, a very healthy balance. The way I operate over there, and that took me a few years to be able to do, though, right? It didn't just happen like that. It took me a few years to be able to say, you know what, I gotta focus on this area in a certain way, and so I had to balance that out.
Okay. Patient. Don't you think like folks, you have a lot of folks in our community, right? It's like, I mean, yeah, sometimes 6 months in Liberia, 6 months in America, or the constant back and forth. I mean, with folks like that, don't you think it's like I wonder like where do you want to be, right? It's like where's your home? I mean, which one do you choose, right? Because where's your focus? It's like 1 minute in Liberia, next minute in America. It's like how do you try to balance that?
Well, I mean, for people who does that, it's probably mostly older folks or young folks who doesn't have a family to say, or they have a family base here and they're trying to figure things out, or it's someone who's living a double life. I don't know. It's hard
And
to
that's what I'm talking about, the double life.
it's hard to balance because if you're your half of, do you have a job? You can't keep
There are
a
folks,
stable
there are
job.
folks, there are folks who have jobs and doing that.
A stable job that you can leave for 6 months and go be out of the country for 6 months, then come back for another. That's a lot. I mean, if you're working remotely, it makes sense. But also, if you have a family here, a wife and kids, and so I wouldn't want my husband to be gone for what you're doing out there for 6 months. I don't know what you're doing out there, who you sleeping next to, and all that. There's a lot to play into it. And politics wise, too, I think they just pick one and stick with it. That's a lot of emotions and mental aspects to put into that as well.
Titus, I see you are eager to chime in here. What's your thought?
I was gonna provide a different perspective on that.
Okay, go ahead.
There again, different strokes, different folks, right? So there are really great partnerships out here that have that type of arrangement. Let's talk about
Biggie, yeah. we're talking about 6 months.
Let's talk about the more.
It's more common than you think. A lot of people do that.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like, where's the focus?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like that's it. That's
right. Like Ib said, where's the focus?
Yeah, and that's the point I'm coming from.
Well, let's assume there is a family here, right? A partnership here, and they have a major project that they're working on. It doesn't even matter who goes away from the U.S. to be present on that project, because as maybe 95% of us have experienced undertaking a project in Liberia, certain level of presence has to be on the ground for that project to be successful. So if a family unit has this understanding that, hey, babe, honey, whatever, 6, you can split the time so that we can push this project. We have a timeline on this project. We have to get this complete within a certain time frame. Okay. People are able to do that. There are arrangements with jobs. There are, jobs that you can take. You can do consultancy for 6 months out here. You can do a temp agency, whatever, as long as it is working for the betterment of that family. You can do that. But if you start to concentrate on the minute things, the distractions, you're never gonna get.
Okay, ladies, Miss Jerry.
A lot of times, those things don't end up very well. Like,
right.
Like you remember being like Liberia for 6 when they got a second family over there.
Oh Lord. Those are distractions.
What are you doing for 6 months?
Those are the distractions that I'm talking about. There are things that are way more important than those things.
Yeah. Okay.
You sound like
these kind of sometimes. I'm not saying you, Joey. How do you pronounce the name again? Is that Joey?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, please. Help me with
Oh,
that.
it's jury.
Jury.
Yeah.
Jury. Sometimes those thoughts can serve as hindrance.
That's what I'm saying.
They
So
can
wait,
hinder
will you
some of.
guys be okay if your wife
Is
leave
this
here for
is this
6 months?
what happens all the time?
Would
Hey
it be
man,
okay if the woman travel for 6 months? Like every 6 months she's back and forth. Would that not be a problem?
most times, and back to our culture, right? The
Mm-hmm.
women are the women are best suited to stay in the home with the kids
No,
while the
no,
men go
no,
out.
no,
What are
no,
you
We
talking
are in
about?
America, though. We are in
no,
America. We are in America now.
No, but but
no,
but
not best suited.
we still are Africans, and this is the culture we still hold on to, right?
You're not answering my question. The question is, will you be okay for your wife to be in and out of the country every 6 months?
Well, if I was married, right, and it was in the best interest of the family, considering our dynamic, of course. What would be the big deal? Of course, Tatos, you agree with me, won't you?
I don't see any issue with that
There's
though.
Of
no
course,
issue with
I,
that.
of course
Melvin, I'm
you will
pretty sure
agree
you
with
agree with
you.
me too.
Any issue.
Well,
Okay.
it's not okay. Whatever project it is, if you want us to pack the kids and the family every 6 months, we go to Africa. We're gonna go there and do
Some
our
Mind you,
thing,
now
things,
you trying
listen,
to spend
and we will
you
some
trying
pack
to
up
things
spend
are
everything
twenty.
just
we had.
bigger than man with more business.
You
That
you
thing
have
are
you have
different.
raised 30,000 to go to like bro for 6 months
It's
to
your best
push the
friend.
project. Then you saying we should take 15,000 from there. You're gonna pay everybody where to go? Come
Oh,
on,
okay.
it's not.
Why,
It's not.
if you're not in a position to take your family, because you're leaving me here with all the financial and physical burden for me to take care of. When you're here, we're a team. Yes, I understand we have
No,
a
no,
project
no.
out there. We have a
No,
project
I
out there.
mean
So
No, no, no. That's not how men
Okay.
go to
Okay.
Africa for
Okay.
six
that's
One at
not
a
months.
how the
time. One at
guys
a
You
go,
time,
don't leave
guys.
man.
One
all
at a
the
time.
financial burdens with the woman. No,
Of
don't do
course
that.
not.
if you're going for 6 months, you're not working. You're taking all the money. Well, I have to stand 10 toes
No,
down here.
no.
No, no, that's not how it happens.
That's
let's
not how it
let's
works.
let's look at it from this angle, guys. All right.
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right. We are Liberians. Sometimes government take over and it needs some level of expertise from people out here.
And how much
Right?
money will you be making out
Let
there
me
before you
let
can
me
take your
learn, please.
expertise?
Let me learn. Let me learn. There are people in Liberia make more money than you, patients. There are
Oh
people
yeah,
in
that's
Liberia that make
true.
more money than you do in America here.
That's true. I
Okay.
have a privilege 20 grand a
Okay,
month.
all right. Now let me just
Yeah.
put my point through. Government take over. They kind of collaborated with people prior to them taking over in America here, and they are like, you know what? This guy is suited. For example, patient you're in the nursing field, you know a lot about the health field, and they're like, we need you to work with the government to take care of Ministry of Health, right?
Mm.
And they offer you good money that you don't even make here. You'll not make within 5 years in America here.
Mhm.
The family dynamics, looking at that, right? People do those things for the benefit of their family. Does that mean is that the best? But it depends on the family dynamics. It depends on their what they're looking at, their goal. If I'm going
Okay.
there for 4 years and I'm going to make this X amount of money in that amount of time that I would make within 20 plus years in America, then that's something the family will have to agree on. Tactus mentioned that.
Okay.
Sam touched on that. But these are things that will make family people to do that. However, if an individual is doing it just on the basis of I going to Liberia and I'm going to just want to take, you know, $10,000 project and I'll be back, then it's questionable. So you got to look
Mm.
at it from different angle. When you're looking at it from that angle, yes. Sometimes people work with UN, the United Nations when they're back in Liberia.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you got to look at it from those angles, depending on the family dynamics and their financial structure.
Okay.
That's
Fishing
true.
had
And
a
what's
hand
wrong
up.
with taking
Okay.
your family with you then? If you're making that much money, why leave your family here? Why can't you take your family with
But
you?
you have
So
your own
patient,
life. The kids are
let's
in
just say
school.
you now,
Oh,
patient.
but
I'm trying to
Africa
address, I
has
will
good
address patient
schools
question.
too.
One at a
Patient,
time.
patient,
One
hold
at a
on.
time.
Let's
What's
just
Mm,
the
say
essence of taking the
you
entire
are
family for
Others,
you
6 months?
one at a
are
time.
I don't get it.
patient.
mm,
Patient, you got kids, right?
mhm.
How many kids you have?
Two.
They are in school. Who
Mm.
you want to just have all of you move back just like that with me, and I with the kids being in school?
Oh
Why
yes,
not?
when we're gonna find a
Why
new school
not?
for them, we
Why
all
not?
going
Yeah. Why
together.
not? Why
Why
not?
not? It's
Why,
not in the
Yeah.
why
best
not?
interest of the
Africa have
kids.
good school. They have some schools, good schools in Africa too.
So based on the assessment you're making, it's not in the best. It might not be in the best interest of the kids. Moving them just like that. not
Okay.
claiming wealth.
He's not going. He's not going. If me and the
But
children
he's
go,
gonna be gone away from his kids for 6 months.
right.
That's not in the best interest of the kids either.
The money doesn't. I mean, we're living a life in America here. What is it? What the benefit to the kids? You leaving your kids here for X amount of time without being physically involved in their life. What involvement or what impact is it going to have on the children as well?
This
So those
is
are all the things
Business,
that.
Let
business
me
is an
so
individual
let me
business.
just
I'm not going
okay.
to
May
answer
I,
you based off of how you see it. I'm speaking in general terms. So I'll leave it as that. All I'm
this is
saying
a
is
okay.
what
short
happened.
term.
So let me
Here,
say
before
something.
you go, there's a short term sacrifice for long term benefits, and I'm glad that Mel asked that question because honestly, this is what holds a lot of the females back. The kids, they're concerned about the kids, the schooling, the environment they're being. So I mean, why would you want to jeopardize all of that? Is she saying,
I
well,
can homeschool
you
them too.
know, I'm just saying, like majority of women, I've
Where we
heard
going, bro? Where you
stories.
go? I go foot to
I've
foot.
heard stories,
Okay.
because they're more focused on the bigger picture. If this man is sacrificing maybe 1, 2 years, 6 months in, 6 months out for a long-term financial freedom benefit for this
Mm.
family, I
Because
mean,
you go over
why
there,
are you allowing
some girl go cook you
so
cassava
Wait,
that,
beans,
wait,
then
one
that's
at a
bro,
it.
time,
And
one
that
at
then
a
type
you
of
time,
put it
one
on
at a
the
time, one
distraction
at
to
You
okay.
know,
hinder the prosperity of the
Okay.
family?
Okay. Okay. Sam, go ahead.
I don't think there's an argument here. I think what patient is saying is that in her case, she won't allow it, right?
no.
But for
Hell
some
no.
of the right, and maybe
But
Joe,
what's the
but
track record of that, right? Let me just push you guys because the three of
Right.
you
no,
seems to
but
be in
but yeah,
favor of
and
that.
it's true,
What's the
and
track record
I
of that?
see
What
I
does the
see why
data
the
show?
ladies will
The
rebuke
data is
this kind of
showing a
effort,
lot of
right?
times Liberian men go back home, whether it's for
Because
government job or projects. They have second families over there if they're going to stay there
Yes.
that long.
Double
no,
Yep.
life.
no,
They have the
most
double
times,
life.
when these guys go there, they get distracted. And
Bro.
I gotta leave the guy's side for a second, right?
Right.
When
And
these guys go over
that's where
there,
I'm
So
coming
then
from.
take your
right?
wife
When
and
these
your
guys
family
go
so
over
you
there,
avoid all the
they get
distraction.
they get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true that being away from your partner for 6 months as a man, even 1 week, right? Women they come for 1 week.
Exactly.
You go away from your partner for 6 months. Who's
Mm.
taking care of you in other ways?
Mm.
Who's washing your clothes? Who's taking care of you? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Right? So some
Mm-hmm.
of these women got major concerns. But for men like us, who are very disciplined,
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, who?
they do.
eh?
Yes, hold on.
Men,
You
men,
know,
Okay.
men,
very
Okay.
men like
Okay.
disciplined.
Okay.
myself, Abraham, who are
Okay.
very disciplined,
Okay.
we can engage in this kind of activities and still maintain the family.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The way you say no,
Absolutely.
Got
sugar
it.
You're right.
face.
Got it.
The way you say
Absolutely.
no,
Okay.
sugar
You're
face
right.
on God sending
Folks,
lightning. They rather he not crack you on
folks,
the
Your
camera
thunder
folks,
still
here.
taking
tonight,
push up.
folks, tonight we are discussing the double life balancing culture expectation with American realities. And one of the double that we realize is Liberian men going back home, as a lady said, whether for 6 months or for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks, having that double life, having second family or having somebody to, as Sam said, to take care of their needs. But anyway, so you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 817-600-1525. This is a 1 hour show. We won't drag it on now. We'll just go for a few more minutes and try to wrap it up here. But patient though, right? Growing up, what was the one thing, American thing, you weren't allowed to do that you secretly wanted to try when you're in Liberia? That we Liberians, I mean, whatever, and those listening to us, if you're in a part of Africa, right? What's the one American thing when you used to watch TV that you really, really wanted to do, but you were not allowed to do, but you secretly just did it?
Well, I came here when I was young, so I wasn't really exposed in Liberia like that. But it was watching adult movies. I
Whoa.
still used to watch when my parents go to sleep.
What you mean? Watching porn?
My parents go to sleep.
Man, they almost said watching adult film, right? There's like a kids are
Eh,
watching this thing here with their
eh,
parents. So don't you
no, but you see, this
go
is
ahead, go
why
ahead.
this is the thing y'all used to do to all in Africa. Y'all will lie to all. The thing is porn. We're not saying what happened in porn. Porn is porn.
Okay,
Call it what it is. We're not saying
okay,
what they're doing in porn. You know
okay.
what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, in Africa, there's a lot of ultimate men say they want to, they don't want to, they don't want to that. But
Okay,
anyway,
okay. Patience said that's the one thing she used to do, right? And you, so my question, then I come to you. What's the one thing, the one American thing growing up that you wish that you really wanted to do, but you couldn't do it, but you secretly, used to do it anyway?
The question I have a pigeon will answer that question. How you have access to those things?
I am my father's child. There's nothing my pa used to hide from me. God knew I had a girlfriend in. I would snitch if you don't give me what I want. That's how I used to do those things.
You see why she trust? You see why she trust us?
Oh my
You
God.
see? That's
Every
why she
time
trust us.
every time there's a social
Now
dynamic,
you
right?
understand the point of
Man, now you
reference.
Every time
understand
there's a
what you
social
talking about.
Point of
dynamic,
reference.
Tim always want to push it. Every time there's a social dynamic, you want to
Ah.
just push it. But anyway, go ahead, doctor.
Oh, I mean, I was so focused on patient, I forgot the question. Sorry, my bad. What you said?
What's the one thing, the one American thing growing up you really wanted to do, but you couldn't do it, right? Maybe your parents couldn't allow you to do it, but maybe when you hang out with your friends, or maybe you go secret to try to do it. What's the one American thing? The one thing about America back home there?
Oh man. Man, I used to want to smoke, bro.
I knew that's what you were gonna
I
say.
used to go. I used to go in the banana booth. I, I rolled up the banana leaf, man. And one time I was smoking and my sister caught me smoking the thing. I thought she was gonna report me to the grab and start smoking it. But man, hey man, it was,
Okay.
I always saw it in movies, so I wanted to try it.
Okay. Okay. Mel, what's the one stereotype, cultural stereotype about you? You wish people, understood better
Stereotype. Well,
about your
you know,
culture, right? I mean, the one stereotype about your culture. I mean, what I mean, or maybe your Liberian culture, whatever, right? You wish people understood better.
hmm. Well, one thing I would say, generally speaking, African as a whole, we tend to, you know, ask not to ask, but we tend to basically just flow with things, even if we don't understand it.
Hmm.
So then we are looked at in a way, we are overlooked in a way, especially in American society, right? If we don't understand things, we tend to flow with it instead of asking those necessary questions to get deeper understanding of what that is. Um, we tend to go with it. So we see a lot of people will bring things and without us not understanding it, hoping, thinking we'll follow it. So those things they just put us in our box like these people are ignorant in a way they don't know a lot, so they tend to use that a lot with Africans. But I think that they need to try to understand that better with Africans because we are educated. Africans tend to have a lot of educated people that know that can do a deep dive into things as it relates to what the subject is. So I wish people outside of Africa can understand that better. That we are not just from the jungle. We're not just dealing with animals every now and then because that's how we identify. They look at African like they talk about monkeys and chimpanzee and these kind of things.
Mhm.
And I wish they can just look at the bigger picture and not just look at it from things that have been shown to them over TV over time. Like, yes, this is how Africa is. Africa is a diverse place. We have a lot of good things going on there. So that mindset, I hope they can change that. People here out here in America.
Okay. There's a good one here. I know we've been discussing the whole Liberian thing. Seems to be, I'll read it for you guys, and you can take it. It said my auntie and her husband are married now for 30 years. 10 of those years was in Liberia, where she used to cook, clean, and groom their home while he worked at a free port making good money. They want DV, move out here, have more kids, God bless. But I was shocked when I went there for Christmas. She was complaining about him not helping around the house with the kids. My first thought was ungrateful woman. Che. But then I reflect on America reality. I was confused as to how to react. Ladies, maybe I'll let you guys take this one first, right?
Another good one.
Yeah. Patient, I'll let you go first on this one. In Liberia,
That's a good one. I mean, in America, especially when a woman is working as much as the man is working, it should be shared responsibility. That's how I look at it. It should be shared responsibility.
Mhm.
And one thing I personally believe is both parties should sit and have this conversation. Like, we're here now. Let's look at this as partnership. Because back home, I was home and you were working. Here, I'm working, you're working. So there is nothing wrong with coming home and cooking and doing all that extra stuff. But when I'm tired, I need you to give me a helping hand. And I think we have had this conversation before. Most women don't ask for the help that they need. And men are slow. I'm sorry to say, guys, but men are slow. If you don't tell them what you want, they're not gonna give you what you want. You need to tell them, I need help with the kids. I won't be able to drop the kids today, drop the kids off. Honey, I'm tired. Can you do dinner or can we order out? These are conversations that needs to be held in the African home, because most African men grew up in the home where they saw their mother cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the home, being the homemaker. So that's what they're used to. Regardless if you're working or not, they expect you to come home, cook, clean, take care of the house, and make sure all the needs and wants are provided. They're not used to the American system where everybody's helping each other out. So I think it's just more of communication. Let's sit and have this conversation as a partner and see how we can help make each other life easier.
Okay, Gary, what's your take on that? In Liberia, the man, a woman stays home. The man does everything. I mean, the man provides, and but then when it comes here now, is the two folks are working, right? I mean, what's your take?
I think patient basically said almost everything, but
Mhm.
people act like back home, like husbands don't help wives. I don't know what part. Like I saw my dad help my mom, even though he was a Liberian in a Liberian household, and I saw a lot of other people do that. So regardless of whether this man is working a full-time job and the woman is home, it's still his responsibility to still help her. Sometimes just because he's working and providing financially doesn't mean that he cannot still help. And I feel like that's the problem we would get wrong a lot of times. Okay, so he's providing 100% financially all the time. So the woman responsibility to take care of everything in the household. And then we come to America where everything, the role switch, women have to work, you have to work. And then you still expect her to take care of 100% of the household responsibility when both of you guys are working outside of the home full time, which is not
Mhm.
fair to her because it's like, that's too much for one person.
Yeah.
So I feel like whether it's back home or here in the US, there should be a fair balance within relationships, and people should
Mhm.
be able to discuss roles and expectations from their
Mhm.
partners.
Mhm.
And it's just really important that people do that.
Okay, to the guys on this panel, right? Let me just take it to you guys, right? It's like, why is it so hard for African men to assimilate to that aspect, where in like having a balance, where in like where because I have seen where when it comes to the Caucasian, even if sometimes you have stay at home moms, the man is working, provide everything, but sometimes he will come home and do dinner and help with the kids. African men is that part of that assimilation part is just hard for them. Why? Titus,
Yeah,
I'll let you go first. Okay, Mel, you take it first.
okay. The reason is simple.
Why?
Orientation has a lot to do with it, right? You grew up in a culture wherein this have been the norm, right? Like you mentioned, Caucasian guys, this is what they have seen their parents do when they're coming up. And these have been things they have seen historically. So for us coming here, for African men to adapt, the adaptability piece is what is lacking for a lot of us. However, does that make it acceptable? Absolutely not. So just navigating cultural two different cultures, right? In Africa, you go to work as a man, you come home, if the wife is home to take care of all of that, cooking, cleaning, and all of that, and it's not a problem. There are other men, like Jerry said, that will help out in the home. But
Mhm.
overall, majority of African men, they don't do those things. So migrating into America, it just makes it harder for them to understand that they are in a different cultural settings and
Okay.
adapting that piece. They're not understanding it. It requires education. It requires constant conversation. It requires them understanding that back home, then remember you are the only one providing, and here the lady have to go to work too to help out. Even let's say you are as the man making a
Mhm.
lot of money too. you still need to help. One person cannot do it, or especially when you have a family. So
Yeah.
so education, orientation, lack of education and orientation is key. Is They are the key contributing factors to just African men finding it hard to help in the home.
Okay.
I feel like
Got it.
sometimes too is just an excuse for these men because
Right.
they can they can change to certain things. They choose what they want to change to. And
Mhm.
then when it comes to that part, it's like, oh, because I'm an African man, whatever. Like, come on, like some of them just don't want to do it. That's it.
Okay.
We agree, Jerry. Some of them don't want to, but we're looking at the overall piece of it, which is the orientation, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's not saying they can orientate themselves on other things when it comes to America. Like so many things to orientate themselves on. Then how about just okay, you know what? Now my partner is working, I'm working. How can I help her? It's not so hard to do.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Jerry, let's understand here. We're speaking of the majority number, right? Not all African men or African men that don't help their partner. There are some of them that will orientate themselves to help out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at the overall number. So we're not
Okay.
just going to sit here and say all African men do that. There are few of them within the African community, especially Liberians, that we know. I personally know that will do all of that. They will go to work, they take care of the kids, they will bathe them, take them to school, they will cook, they will clean, and all of that.
We're
So
talking
other
about the
African guys
majority.
do that.
We're talking about the majority
Yeah, I'm talking
And,
about Nigeria.
and that's
who
why I
finds
just
it difficult
emphasize
to
on.
assimilate.
That's
Yeah.
why I just emphasize on.
Okay. Okay. Well, folks, we can't keep dragging this all night. Titus, you have anything to add? I mean, as always, right? You
No,
are
I
the
mean
fine
Mel said everything. Mel said everything, and I just wanted to highlight what Patience also said that men are slow. Men are slow. It's no offense to men. So, ladies, you have a greater responsibility to continue to educate and remind your men so that
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can
I
so
was
that they
going
can
to add to that. I feel like a lot of the times our female enable these men
so they
with
can
these
come up to
behaviors.
speed.
Right.
They don't put
It's
expectations
true.
in place. They don't put nothing in place. So these whatever the relationship may be, they feel like okay, I can just do whatever because
Mhm.
I
Okay.
know that my wife is going to take care of it. She's
Yeah.
always takes care of things. So
Always there. I'm a super woman. You
So
stop.
Right.
Don't get
Right.
let me
ball in your
just
hand.
Jerry and Patient, let me just flip that a little bit. Let me just push that. If Liberians or African women are doing that, setting expectations, don't you think they are becoming too Americanized? Maybe like I mean the culture is pushing back on them, or their community will push back on them. Hey, you guys are becoming too Americanized.
We are in
no,
America. I'm not living for the community. I don't care what the community think. I'm in my home. I know what I'm going through behind closed door. So the community can say what they want to say, but we're gonna set expectations because your mom born you and shed blood. My mom born me, she shed blood too. So I'm not gonna slave after you, and I don't expect you to do the same after me too. We're coming together as partner. We're respecting each other. We're helping. The goal is to make each other life easy. If you're sitting here worrying about what the community have to say, you go find somebody who care what the community have to say. Because I don't. I mean,
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's our life, it's our home. That's our business. That's our family. We're supposed to build that life the way it works for the both of us.
Okay. Jerry?
the same. Like I don't understand why people would even want to frown on that because we always say like you come to America, things change. You have to adapt to the cultures here. Like back home, it's easier to hire a nurse. Some people have like two, three nurses taking care of their children. One person is responsible to cook, to clean. The other person just with the children. It's easier to have those things over there. When you come over there and you see your wife is struggling, and you can't even afford to hire help, you should be able to do that without her even asking you. And
Okay.
that's what, and as I said, that from what I've seen with a lot of Liberian girls, they enable these men too much. Like they just do everything and they just be all in the streets doing the most and not wanting to go back home to go help. But like if you put in your rules down, like this is what I want from you, I'm sure they will follow because I'm not gonna sit there and be doing everything while you just feel like you can just do whatever you want to do.
All right, you
Okay.
run me the
Okay.
rules until you get you run
Okay,
me the
then
rules
that
anymore.
brings me as we wrap this up. As we wrap this up, right? I would just feel that brings me to my next question for the two ladies and then the two guys. What's the first American habit? Maybe saying that just the first habit. Since you're saying that you're setting expectation because folks might think those are American nice things. But what's the first patient? I'll start with you. What's the first American habit, or maybe or slang
For me,
or thing that you
I
pick up
won't
when
say
you say
I won't
American?
say it's a habit. It's probably more of what I want. It's like I said, it's my life. I don't care. I'm not living up to society expectation.
Mhm.
This is my life. I'm gonna live it the way it suits me. I'm not being disrespectful to the and my parents know that too. I told them your marriage, your this, your that you have lined up, good for y'all. I'm
Okay.
gonna get the degree. It benefits all of us. If you want grandchildren, I'm gonna give you grandchildren. Just know you're doing 50% of the job too, since you asked for it, and I will help you too. But as for husband, two reasons. I'm either getting married because he's rich or I'm in love with him. And if none of that happen, I'm not gonna get married. I'm not
Oh,
doing nothing because society has set this standard that women's supposed to do this, do that, do that. And nope. It is my life. When I die, me and society not dying together. It's my
Mhm.
life. I live it the way it pleases me and the way it helps me advance and become a better person.
okay.
So everybody can say, oh, y'all like an American person. I take that because it's my life.
Mel, you laughing? Anything to say as you wrap this up? You know, I mean, giving everybody opportunity today, right? It's like you laughing. What is it? I mean, response to patient.
Well, I'm not going to respond to patient. I mean, patient made it
Wow.
personal and she made it individual, and that's I can change that. I can address that, but I will speak to the question personally.
Yeah,
Um, I think America kind of teaches us teamwork as it relates to family
that's
collaboration.
it. That's the first habit you pick up. That's the American habit, teamwork. That's the
Yes,
one you pick up. Okay,
yes.
People
okay.
do teamwork in Africa too.
Yeah,
Expand
that's the
on
thing.
that.
I don't know. And anyway,
Yeah, it's not an American thing. There's
Let,
teamwork
colonization,
in
let
If
me
you
let
Africa
me
just
too.
if
let
you
me
just
just
I
say
allow
don't.
me land, then I will
you
elaborate
say
a little
who
bit
the
more.
made it interrupt you. It makes it
Sorry.
in a teamwork.
Okay.
What's your okay?
Okay.
Expand on that a little bit now. Expand on that a
Yeah,
little bit.
teamwork and collaboration, right? Um, we're talking about family dynamic here. It's not just, it shouldn't be one sided. It shouldn't be one person focusing on the kids, focusing on how to, ensure the family is stable. It should be both partners. It should be the both husband and wife involvement, you know, in terms of the provision as it relates to the finances as well. So everyone, one way or the other, have to chip in so that the family can have the stability they need, so the kids can have the future you want to set them up for, and then the family too can work on what they want to work on, set up goals, the financial expectation, and all of these things can set up. Without that in America, it becomes a problem. If you just say one person will do it all, or one person will focus on one aspect of what enables the family to have what they have, then there will be a gap depending on our family dynamic. That's why I
Okay.
use the keyword teamwork and collaboration.
Okay. Titus, what's yours? One American habit. It can be maybe a slang or something you pick up once you move here. A habit that
You
you pick
know,
up.
I once heard that living in America is an education all by itself, and just to support what Mel said, the teamwork aspect, that's definitely an education all by itself. Another education I think we get from there is being financially responsible. You learn basically you learn management, even if that's not your career path. You learn some sort of management
Okay.
because you know these folks do not play. If you do not pay your bills, you will not enjoy what that bill is, what that utility is. You're not going to enjoy it. So you are mandated. You're forced to be responsible and manage your finances over here, living here. But
Okay.
lastly, I really want to throw light on this. The health aspect, right? We barely go for checkups back home in Liberia. It was here when I really started, getting advised by primary care physicians, like, hey, do your checkup once every year. Never thought of that back home. That's one
Okay.
habit that I'm grateful for.
Okay. Well, Jerry, anything from you on the one habit, slang, or anything you pick up when you first moved to the U.S.?
Sam was only tooting his horn, so I think it's my turn. I would say I'm grateful for my upbringing because I didn't grow up in a typical Liberian household.
Mm,
So my family were more like American before I even came to America. So it wasn't
okay.
like a lot of different things. Like my dad contributed a lot with the household work and all of that stuff. And my mom, like you mentioned, financial part, like she was always like a very financially savvy person. So I learned that at a young age how to like manage money and stuff like that. So it wasn't a lot of like much of a difference for me, honestly.
Okay.
'Cause,
Well,
yeah.
okay, well, folks, as we wrap this up tonight, my last question to you guys, and Mel, I'll start with you. Where now do you feel at home the most? As we wrap this up, where do you feel at home the most, right? And
If
as you answer there, the message you want to leave all the folks that have been watching tonight, what is a party message to our audience out there that have been watching?
it wants to put me out there to identify with one country, but I would say this, man. You know, thank you, Ip. Thank you, everybody. This has been conversational and a learning, experience for me. Just hearing people the way they see things and look at things, navigating two cultures, right? Um, my brother, I personally went through a lot in Liberia, the struggle and ups and downs and the lack of many things and lack of opportunities, right? But we managed and we navigated those struggles by God's help, and we made it into the great US of A. Um, there are a lot of opportunities I've had in the US of A that I did not have in Africa. I know a lot of people say I have, things going well for me when I was in Liberia. Some of us did not. We came from way down the line. As a young man, growing up, leaving from country to country, especially during the war, we really didn't have anything. We have to struggle from a very young age, selling
Yeah.
market and just doing things that you wouldn't do right now. Thinking about it, so the opportunity that America had afforded me, right? If I were to decide where to make my home, looking at the way things are right now in Liberia, looking at the structure, the government, the infrastructural development, the educational system, right? I
Mhm.
would pick the US of A over Liberia, but I identify with Liberia. I'm a Liberian. I'm a born Liberian. So I'll say that tonight just to clarify that piece.
Okay.
Closing with just as it relates to the topic on the discussion, dual identity and its impact. Right.
Yeah.
Um, we talk about people being adults and moving to America, you tend to look at things differently than someone who um, was born here and came here at a younger age, right?
Yeah.
You tend to kind of balance things and try to navigate it and be impactful in both culture. Um, just growing up in Liberia is an adult coming
Okay.
here, right? You learn a lot and you understand a lot, and coming here understanding the culture, you tend to incorporate things that will work for you. So as
Okay.
an individual, just being able to incorporate those good things that
Sure.
will help you and your family to be better off, that will help you and your family to do things well and not just breach or, make someone feel somehow disrespected or make someone feel like you're trying to isolate yourself,
Sure.
will help you navigate these things and also be a better person. Africa has a lot of things that we can,
Okay.
carry on, and
Okay.
also, America has a lot of good things that we can also incorporate into our daily life to do
Okay.
things effectively and efficiently in a way that we can also grow and do better in whichever way we find ourselves.
Okay. After that long speech, the answer is it is America that you feel most at home. So that, I mean, we get it. That's it, but we get it. It's America that you feel most at home. So, Jerry, Miss Jerry,
That one is yeah, America.
where do you feel most at home now? Where
Oh,
do you feel most at home?
this is a tough question. Like on, so I was recently back home. Like I really do love home. I love Liberia. That's where my heart is. However, I think you mentioned like just the system is frustrating. Like it's life is hard over there. Like you live here for so long and you get used to certain things and things being done a certain way, and you go back Liberia, like there is no order, there is no structure, and that's the frustrating part. However, it's still my responsibility to go back to Liberia to contribute however way I can. So I would say Liberia for me.
I do. Okay. Okay. Patient, where do you feel most at home? And as we wrap this up, right? And what's your party message
You
to our
know,
audience?
pitching that American woman.
I mean, don't talk for the woman.
Well,
Go
thank
ahead,
you all
go ahead,
for
please.
watching, even though I was late.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
glad to be back. I haven't been feeling so well. But America for me is home for now because this is where I have my foundation, my kids, my home, my family. I mean, it's life in America. I haven't been back home since I came to the US. So and I don't have any intention of going back home anytime soon. I'm still Liberian. I cherish that. I was born Liberian. I'm gonna die Liberian, but America is home for now.
Yeah. Status, you get a last word here, right? Where do you feel most at home? And as we wrap
Yeah,
this
man.
up, right, where do you feel most at home? And what's the message you want to leave our audience that have been listening to us tonight?
So you see, so Amanda, who just said the state for me, that's my sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like that's my blood, right?
Yeah.
America is home for her. For me,
Mm-hmm.
as Liberia, I will always remain grateful to this country.
Yeah.
The opportunities, the exposures, this country has accorded us
Mm-hmm.
to be able to come here, advance ourselves, take care of ourselves and our families. Always remain grateful to this country. But with Liberia, there is a different sense of purpose when you're in Liberia. There are just so many, even the little bit of lives that
Yeah.
you're able to touch within a small amount of time means a lot, compared to, in contrast to America, where it'll be like a drop in the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
for me, and as I like to think of myself as a Pan Africanist, right? Liberia will always, that's where I'll feel the most at home.
Okay.
But thank you
Well,
for this
cool.
conversation, Abe. Thanks to
Mhm.
everyone who contributed. I really enjoyed the conversation tonight. Thanks to everyone in the audience. Manny, shout out to you. Everybody out there, man. Shout out to y'all. Let's keep talking. Let's keep elevating.
That's great. Well, folks, that concludes the end of our show tonight. We
Hey,
are
hey,
discussing. Yeah.
before we go, I know you are a host, but we want to know the very question
Yeah.
back to
Thank
you.
you.
Then you can wrap up.
Where do
Okay,
you feel most at home?
for me, I'll go with patient, right? America is
You know
home
that
for me
man, Mary.
because I feel like I don't want to fall in the trap of the double life. I think
Right.
when he's trying to say I'm here and then say Liberia is my home. I think double life. I don't want to burden my kids, right? So for me, America is home for now. America is home for now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that,
Okay.
folks, that concludes the end of our show tonight. As Tata said, it was a great discussion. We've been discussing the double life, balancing cultural expectation with American reality. Someone asked if this show is only on Sunday. This show is now 4 days a week because we are growing. So Tuesday to Thursday is 7:30, and then Sunday there's a social segment. And yeah, it's Be Lit. The social segment Be Lit. So it's like, hey, you can join the social segment on
Thank you.
Sundays at 8 o'clock. But Tuesday to Thursday we discuss different topics. Wednesday is our business segment. Miss Jerry is one of the panelists on there, and we'll be discussing business, entrepreneurs be coming on here, giving us some great ideas. And tomorrow, right, we're going to be discussing, springing into that new home, right? It's a spring season, buying new homes. So we're going to be discussing that. Well, folks, it was a great discussion tonight. Thank you to our great panelists. Thank you as always. You bring some great ideas here, great conversation. So good night, folks.
Bye, guys.